Okay, let's try 10 plus 5. And the Sicilian defense. Oh, let's see what's going on. We could play knight f6. He plays e5. Then I can play d5. If takes, takes. If pawn takes knight, pawn takes bishop. That sounds good. Knight f6, e5, d5. If takes, takes. If take en passant. But if en passant takes, then bishop takes d6. If he just takes the knight, then I take the bishop. And then if bishop, pawn takes g7, bishop takes g7. Then if the queen wants to go to g4, attacking the bishop, well, that's no good for him because then I have queen f6. So that's fine. So the most fortunate thing he has is pushing, and if pushing is no good for him, then he doesn't have much. Now I can play d5, and if he pushes, I can play knight to d7. And the bishop retreats, then it goes. So I could take the bishop. He takes the knight. I play queen takes. And I'm up a pawn. I could do that. And what exactly we do about it? So my pawn is on c4 is sort of ugly, but it's an extra pawn. So the pawn slows him down from playing his d pawn up 1 or 2 squares. So I'm going to play this very aggressively now. Bishop d6. If f5, trying to open up lines, then e4. Or I could forestall f5 by just playing my knight right away to bishop d6. If f5 castles, pawn takes, um, pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes e6, then I'll play. Well, bishop d6, the knight comes. That's the problem. The knight comes to e4 there. So what? Then my bishop just move. Then I move my queen out of the way, which I have to do eventually anyway. Bishop d6 is the only rational move I see. Bishop d6, knight e4, queen e7, knight takes d6, queen takes d6. And I don't see his advantage. The most forcing thing you can do then is play f5. I castle. If pawn takes, even if I don't castle, I have a positions before I castle, which is bring my knight to d4. Then if pawn takes, bishop takes. Okay. I'm also looking at his f4 pawn. Oh, no. His f4 pawn. And his knight really can't move. If his knight moves, it's checkmate. Oh, it's not checkmate, but it's a disaster for him. So I can just take the f4 pawn off. And by taking the f4 pawn off, I'm attacking his knight. The best I think that he has is knight takes d6, queen takes d6. Now I'm up 2 pawns. He should have an attack for being down 2 pawns. And his attack will consist of bringing his knight to g5. It should be okay. Let's try it. How is she gonna learn if you don't try this? If d pawn moves up, discovered attack on my queen, and just moves to d3 or d4, I just play queen takes knight. Okay. So his pawn falls with check. Then I castle and see what he's got. Maybe he has a way to trap my queen. I don't know. Okay. So now I have a so-called free move. think I will. So now if rook comes over, so how can you try to trap my queen now? Hmm. Well, let's see. I think what we need here is to attack one of his knights. But then the rook comes over and the queen's trapped. So that's not good. Oh, well, I have a queen check there. Oh, so my queen can sort of extricate itself. And that will bring the bishop into play. Let's go there. It sort of brings the bishop into play. Oh, yes. So now I check. Check. Okay, here we go. Check. Discovered attack, which means you can't take the bishop. But you can block with the knight. Oh, all he had to do was block with the knight on the discovered attack. Okay. So he just made a blunder there. He was looking at my time trouble. In fact, I think this is too fast for me. I think I should go to 15 plus 10. So let's go back and see what happened here. E4, C5, knight C3, knight C6, F4. Okay, I have to remember. Play G6 or E6. Apparently, most of the masters like G6 here. Instead, I think I played the second best move, which is E6. Well, there's knight G to E7. Why didn't I think of that? Well, if I played knight F6, I confused them, but I should remember knight G to 7. So yeah, knight G to 7 was best. So still, after A6, black is not bad. Slightly better, according to Stockfish at 32 ply. So my move is okay there. Of course, the idea of this move is I'm not quite sure. Well, it's to prevent me from playing B5. And because then that would drop a pawn. Okay. Now D5. Yep, play that on time. After this, knight H5. I didn't consider that one. Oh, so that's how I pick up the F pawn. Knight H5, and then after he moves his bishop, I get the F pawn. Very nice. Or just, well, on further thought, it just takes the bishop right away. Okay. That's what I did anyway. Okay, here we go. What was a better move? Oh, gee, I don't know. I don't know which is better because the depth is not, it's below 20, so I'm not sure about that. But okay. Ah, bishop to e7. So bishop to e7 stops all this counterplay that I gave him. But my queen seems awkward out there. Right. So now I understand my path back into the game. Bishop to e7 followed by knight to d4. And after those knights are exchanged off, my queen can get back to a more reasonable position by using d4 as a hub. So after bishop e7, he makes it look like d3. Then maybe just play the knight to d4 right away. Then if knight takes knight, queen takes knight, check. And then the queen can always retreat down the d file to get back into the game. Okay. So I played this. Probably not the best, but at least I anticipated his move. Wasn't surprised he played that. So here, I should just play queen to d8. I see. Instead, I chose to grab that pawn, which probably loses. Let's see how it loses. Oh yeah, queen takes f4, double, double exclamation. Well, Capablanca said, if you don't see why you shouldn't take a pawn or a piece, you should definitely take it, because that's how you're going to learn. So I wasn't quite sure, but I went for it anyway. So queen takes f4, definitely lost. That's losing completely. So d3 is the move. Ah. d3 removes the queen from protecting the bishop. That's what he missed, and I missed too. Of course, if he plays d4, then I take the knight off. But I forgot about d3 protects the knight and attacks the queen at the same time. So then the queen can't guard the bishop anymore, and so white wins. Instead, he did this, which is a grievous blunder. No worse than mine. King f2. And I found the proper move, queen h4, check. Good. So now, silence that phone. So now black is supposed to, white is supposed to go for a king walk out to e3. But instead, he don't want to go king to e3, in which case black has castles. And position is very complex from there. But what's not complex is white's king safety is really bad. His king has taken a walk almost to the center of the board. Okay, so instead, after queen h4, check, he went back to g1. So bishop to h2, check. King h1. So now bishop g3, he must have missed knight h3. Oh, I see. But the other knight hangs in that case, so it still loses. But I don't get the checkmate, but I get the other knight. So after knight h3, queen takes e4, and black wins. Okay. So steady. Fell onto mate in one. Okay. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.